Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joseph Bradley from Almond Ross. I'm going to do a video today with Archangel Michael. It's the 10th day of my trip, and there's one more day tomorrow, so I'll do one more video tomorrow in a series of 11. Just give me one moment. Michael's taking me through a gateway. We were outside of a planet, and he shows us spinning in one great big golden fireball around the planet, and it's leaving a trail as we go. It's spinning. We go from the bottom of the planet up, and then we go this direction, and then we go this direction, and we go this direction. And it basically covers the whole planet in a golden light. After we complete that, we go through the flames. It's not really flames, it's more like a golden light, but it almost looks like a sun because there is actual movement and the light itself that looks kind of like flames. We go through that and we enter the atmosphere of the planet now, which is a beautiful golden color. We go to a small town and people are just staring up at the clouds, up at the sky, wondering how the sky had changed, wondering what is going on. Some people were fearful. Some people scream and run into their homes. Some people are just in awe of what's happening. There's about 50 buildings in this town, and we go to the center of town, and there's a bigger building, and there's some louder voices coming, concerned voices, just discussions talking about what is happening and trying to understand it. We open the door. As soon as we open the door, everybody looks back. One man at the front asks us who you are, or we are. Michael steps forward. He puts his hands out. I am Michael. I had changed your sky to a golden color to protect it from an oncoming storm. The man looks at Michael. He goes down the ground. Everybody falls to the ground. Michael tells them all to rise, but please do not kneel in front of him. He is not to be worshipped. He is sent here by God to help the planet, as the planet was going to get hit by a solar storm that would have wiped out every living thing on Earth, on this planet, not Earth. This is not Earth. They slowly start to stand up. The man at the front is still down at the ground. Michael walks up and picks him up. He says, "This is okay. I'm here to help." Why? Why? Man, just not really making any, he's just completely overwhelmed. A man in the crowd stands up, and he stands up and says, "Thank you for coming." You talk about this solar storm. What is that exactly? We are Humber people here. We do not understand what you're saying. Storms. How can a storm destroy this world? The storm comes from the stars, he says. The night sky will be golden for a while. The light will have to stay like this for the upcoming weeks to make sure the storm has completely passed. and for time for it to absorb all the radiation. He looks at the man. He just leaves the man on the ground because it is hopeless. The man is completely overwhelmed. But the man in the crowd is not. He walks over. Michael walks over to him. And he takes him to the front. And he calls me up as well. We sit down. And he just calmly talks about how the solar system works, how the heat and the sun, the ball of light in the sky, and how a storm is coming from a star like that one that has died and is coming towards this planet. And he's been asked to come here to help the planet survive. So, how often does something like this happen, he says? Very, very rarely. But it does happen. And when it does, it causes whole planetary systems to evaporate. You are on the outskirts of this explosion, and you are to be spared from it. But the ones in further are not. Many humanoid life forms will perish from this explosion, which already happened. The storm will hit in the days to come and take many, many days for it to pass. I will keep you protected until that time. Michael just takes the time to explain it to make sure every person in the room understands. And he says to them all, go back and tell your families what is happening, that everything is okay. The sun and the sky will return to normal in just a little bit. But the brightest star in your sky, it will be no longer there. The star that has been progressively brighter and bigger will no longer be. It will be gone. He stands up and he walks out. But how would all the people on the planet know? He looks at the man in the back. He says, you will tell them the story. You and your family go on a trip around the world, and you will tell every single person that you come across what has happened here today, so that they may tell their people, so it may spread across the world. The man says, how am I to do this? Michael takes him by the hand. Take your family with you. We walk out of the building. We walk into a field, and there's many horses. It is weird, this planet is very much like Earth, but not Earth. The horses here are beautiful. They are very tall, but very thin, a little bit longer. The hair is a bit longer. They are very interesting looking. The people look very much like humans. but they are different. In just subtle ways. Their necks are a bit longer. Their heads are a bit smaller. They are thin. Kind of like they look kind of like an elf but don't have the pointed ears. But none of this really matters, Michael says. Do not concentrate on what they look like. He tells the man that's beside me, to take as many of these horses as you need and go on your journey. Take more than what you need. In other words, if you need 3 to ride, take 9 for your trip. It will be a long one. He puts his hand on the ground and speaks some words, and really beautiful gems appear in his hand. These will help you get through your journey easily. And just in case somebody takes them from you, give them to them freely, as I will guide you to the next place where you can find more. There's places along your trip that the gems are already waiting under the ground for you, and you'll just have to dig them up. But just keep this to yourself and do not tell anyone. Because if they catch on, it'll put you in danger. So use the money wisely. The man bows slightly and runs to get his family and let them know what is happening. We leave the planet and we look down at the planet and the upcoming storm as it comes closer. The storm hits the planet, never penetrating the golden light. Instead, it gets diverted around. We watch as the storm passes, and a few days, weeks even pass before Michael is okay to take the barrier down. He takes the barrier down. Why was this done? He says. You're not going to finish the story, Joseph. As soon as he takes the barrier down, the sun explodes and the planet is burnt to a crisp. What was the point of that? The point is that at any point in time, something can happen in the world or in the universe that will destroy everything. I went to the smaller village in the whole world to give them hope. But that hope was taken from them when the sun blew up. The thing is, Joseph, you never know when something will happen, and everything you know will change. But that man that stood up was why I came. He is being chosen a new path, a new life. He has to go on a journey that is very much like the one he was just told to do. And that was a test for him to see if he would do it. Their sun was about to die, like a lot of the suns in this area are exploding. The storm that hit this earth also hit the sun and destabilized it even more and caused it to explode. I knew this would happen, but I also wanted to test that man to see how he would react, how he would respond. He was the only one that stood up, while everyone else was afraid. So if something happens in this world, who will stand up? Who will say and ask questions? When you're in a crowd and you don't agree with something, do you stay silent? Or do you speak, stand and speak? But speak not in a negative way, but from the heart. Do not be afraid, however anybody else would think of you or treat you. How many people watching this video will stay silent and afraid? Maybe none of you will. Maybe all of you will. But when you stand up, speak with passion and love and not hatred. If you disagree, respond in the same way. Because sometimes when you see something that seems ridiculous, that seems like it just doesn't make any sense or it can't be true, maybe if you just ask some questions, you'll find the answers to them. But if you stay silent, you'll always be second guessing yourself. Always. How many times throughout our history, if one man would have stood up and spoke, would things have changed? Sometimes it's all it takes is one person to stand, to find out the truth and ask the right questions, not afraid of what will happen. Sometimes that one person can ask the questions to give others the strength to stand up and speak. So how many people have the courage to stand up when everyone else is afraid? Would you go on a journey if God came to you and spoke to you and said to drop everything you've had in your life? Would you go on a journey if He asked you to? What would be your answer? If you were the president, Donald Trump, do you think he would listen to what God had to say if he came to him and told him he had to give up everything in order to travel the world? Would you do it? Would Bill Gates do it? Would I do it? That's all the message is for today. Now there's a message from Michael, Archangel Michael. I thank him for coming with me today. I thank you all for watching this video and having the open mind to just look at things in a different way, or continue to look at it in the way you're already looking at it. And if the time comes when you know you need to stand up, then don't be afraid to do so. How else would anything change if you do not? Good afternoon and good day. And I'm Joseph Bradley from Amen Ross. Take care.